Welcome to the Faith Focus Network, where we explore the rich traditions and practices of the Catholic faith. I'm your host, Daniela Bizant, and today we're tackling a provocative topic, the Four Horsemen of Atheism. We'll discuss who they are, the damage they've done to the faith, and the notable public figures who are challenging their ideas, re-educating the public, and highlighting the half-truth misconceptions they've spread to millions. We'll also explore how secularism has impacted society and how, in response, people are returning to the faith, often finding the holes in the arguments of these horsemen as a pathway back. That's certainly what happened with me. Stay with us for an eye-opening discussion. So let's begin by introducing the Four Horsemen of Atheism and understanding their influence. The term Four Horsemen of Atheism refers to four prominent figures who have become influential in promoting atheism and secularism. They're Richard Dawkins, who's an evolutionary biologist and author of The God Delusion. Dawkins argues that belief in God is irrational and that science provides a better explanation for the existence of the universe. Then there's Christopher Hitchens, a journalist and author of God is Not Great. Hitchens critiqued religion as a source of conflict, oppression, and anti-intellectualism. He also wrote a scathing book called The Missionary Position, and that was about Mother Teresa, and it was awful. And despite it being so awful, he was actually, maybe even because of it, he was selected to be the devil's advocate in her canonization process. Then there's Sam Harris, who's a neuroscientist and author of The End of Faith. Harris criticizes religion for its perceived incompatibility with reason and its role in global conflicts. And then there's Daniel Dennett, who's a philosopher and author of Breaking the Spell. Dennett examines religion as a natural phenomenon and argues that it can and should be studied scientifically, kind of like you would a disease. The Four Horsemen have had significant impact on public perception of religion, particularly Christianity. Their arguments have contributed to the rise of the New Atheism movement, which is characterized by the assertive criticism of religion. Some of the damage they've done includes the eroding of public trust in religion. Their works have convinced many that religion is inherently irrational, outdated, and harmful, leading to a decline in religious affiliation and practice. And then they also promote a lot of half-truths and misconceptions about religious beliefs and practices. They do good spin jobs by fostering misunderstanding and prejudice against people of faith by turning complex theological insights into reductive tropes. That's how they normally, spread their disease. And their advocacy for secularism has influenced policies and societal norms, often marginalizing religious perspectives in public discourse. What they've done is made the bullying of religious people, especially Christians, cool. In recent years, several notable figures, however, have begun to challenge the Four Horsemen, re-educating the public and addressing the flaws in their arguments. Some of those figures include Bishop Robert Barron. Through his Word on Fire ministry, Bishop Barron engages with the arguments of the new atheists, offering reasoned and articulate defenses of the Catholic faith. And then there's Dr. Jordan Peterson, the psychologist and cultural critic. Peterson has argued for the psychological and societal value of religious belief, challenging the reductionist views of the new atheists. One of my favorites is Dr. John Lennox. He's a mathematician and Christian apologist. Lennox debates atheists like Dawkins directly, highlighting the compatibility of faith and reason. And Alistair McGrath is a theologian and former atheist, and he addresses the scientific and philosophical shortcomings in the arguments of the new atheists. These figures and others are working to re-educate the public, correcting the misconceptions spread by the Four Horsemen. They emphasize the following points. One is that faith is not opposed to reason. Many great scientists and thinkers were and are people of faith. Faith and reason complement each other. And religion provides a sense of meaning, community, and moral guidance. Studies show that religious practice is associated with numerous personal and social benefits. And secularism is not a neutral stance but carries its own biases and limitations. A truly open society respects and integrates religious perspectives. The spread of secularism, influenced by the arguments of the Four Horsemen, has had profound impacts on society. Many people are now recognizing the shortcomings of a purely secular worldview and are returning to faith. This return is often driven by a search for meaning. Secularism often fails to provide a deep sense of meaning and purpose, leading individuals to seek fulfillment in spiritual and religious practices. And without a religious framework, some find it challenging to establish a robust foundation for morality and ethics, prompting a evaluation of religious teachings. Religion offers a sense of community and belonging that is increasingly rare in a secular, individualistic society. Critics of the Four Horsemen have pointed out several flaws in their arguments, which have led many people back to faith. And as a matter of fact, what brought me back to faith was listening to these guys initially as a fan. So I loved listening to them and reading their books, except I kept finding holes in their arguments. New atheists often misrepresent religious beliefs, practices, and experiences. They attacking straw man versions of faith rather than engaging with its true depth and complexity. They focus on the negative aspects of religion while ignoring or downplaying its positive contributions to individuals and societies, and their reductionist approach fails to account for the richness of human experience, which includes spiritual and transcendent dimensions. The Four Horsemen of Atheism have had significant impact on the public perception of religion, but their arguments are not without flaws. Notable public figures are challenging those views, re-educating the public, and highlighting the value of faith. As more people recognize the limitations of secularism, many are finding their way back to church, discovering the deeper meaning, community, and moral guidance that it offers. Thank you for joining me today as we explored the Four Horsemen of Atheism. I hope this episode has provided you with valuable insights and maybe some inspiration. Don't forget to subscribe to the network for more explorations on our Catholic faith. If you found this episode helpful, please comment. It really helps us when you do. Until next time, may you find truth and light on your journey of faith to keep that faith alive.